what's that thing on the on the Hangover where it's like the Peter was peppered very politely, and he's like doing the vocals to start to warm his mouth up.
Oh yeah.
But he's saying like really stupid ones. Should do that. Right. First one of the season.
It's not going to be regular either.
Why not?
Because I enjoy podcasts. I
Yeah.
enjoy watching and listening to podcasts, but well, I guess a fun to record too. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to see. We'll have to see how
nice,
this one does.
Okay.
But this is the what are we calling this again?
Your idea. Well, actually, no, it's not. I'm not even going to give you credit for it. It's my idea. The football takeaway with takeaway.
So we've got our takeaway.
We have indeed.
And
some pizza.
We're presenting our, I guess, takeaway of the Premier League season.
That's
kind
the
of
one.
like a Premier League preview, basically. A Premier League preview podcast.
Shout out to Aloe Pizza. If you want to do a sponsorship, I'm
Maybe
not saying anything else. I'm not saying anything else. I'm just dropping the name.
But yeah, so I guess we kind of have to start with placements in the league, and I've already made a few videos on this. But I kind of just want to run through it briefly. Like, I guess maybe starting off with like relegation candidates, and I guess the most likely 3 to go down.
I think there's definitely one that stands out for me as a team that are going to struggle from the offset, and that's Cardiff. I don't think they've strengthened how they would have liked to. I think Neil Warnock has openly said that he's had a frustrating transfer window. So usually, I mean, obviously they did well to get up and get promoted, and they had a very good style of play. It was no nonsense, and fair play for that. But I just don't think they've got what it takes to withstand the Premier League and survive the Premier League. I think it's going to be too much for their team. I think they will be dead bottom, and that's not a knock to them. I just think they've not got what it takes. It's like a mid-table championship team for me being in the Premier League.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. I think the obvious thing for me is Neil Warnock. He's a very good championship manager, but he's never been able to do it in the Premier League.
No, he's never had the financial backing of a team in the Premier League. Like, when you look at all the teams he's managed there, they've all been teams that their job is to stay up and avoid relegation. He's never sort of, been given an opportunity at a team where they've had that the objective of getting mid-table, getting higher than mid-table sort of thing. So he's always been that kind of manager, and I can't remember how many promotions he's got from the Championship, but he's got I think 9. So he's got a lot, and he's that kind of manager that you bring in to sort of steady the ship, and then once he's steadied it, he'll go and get you promoted. But no, like you said, he's not a Premier League manager, and I don't know how many times he's avoided relegation, but I can't think it will be that many.
No, not at all. I mean, I think we've established. I think a lot of people have will probably agree that they will finish dead bottom, and that's not me writing them off. Like I said, we said this about Huddersfield last season. They proved us wrong.
We were very wrong with that, weren't we? Yeah.
But someone has to go there, so you pick the weakest team from what we've seen so far, and that is Cardiff. I think Huddersfield will struggle there this season. I've also tipped them to go down. Yeah,
no, I think they've got some good players in. I know they've got Derm at left back, good signing. But they're a team that they've got a great manager. I think he's a great manager, and I think he'll go on to do a lot of better things.
He worked with Jurgen quite a lot as well.
Yeah, he's close with Jurgen. And I think they just haven't got the resources and the infrastructure of a Premier League side. I mean, last year I said to you, I don't know if I said to you on video or in a private chat or whatever, it was literally like seeing Doncaster get into the Premier League, and it would be the same for me that I would be expecting relegation if we got to the Premier League, because I feel like they're like a couple of seasons ago Doncaster were higher up than them.
I was going to say they were.
And we were in the Championship, they were in League One, and they were just missing out, just like not getting to that next step. But credit to them, they've done really well to get to where they have, and I'm taking nothing away from them. Last season was phenomenal, the fact that they could stay up, and how they did it as well, it was great to watch. We were all sort of supporting them when it got to that time, the crunch time, and you know
the game against Chelsea.
Yeah, the game against Chelsea, it was a brilliant match to watch, and how they got the result there, it was nice to see. I just don't think that. I think they've tipped around relegation last year because, you know, the teams below them deservedly went down, were relegated. Yeah. So I think now there's not going to be a team like that. Cardiff, obviously.
It was a very narrow escape as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
You know, leaving it to the second to last game. But
you haven't got teams like your West Broms who had a very poor start to the season, and Swansea just petered off as well. Though I don't think there's teams that are as, you know, they're going to be in that position. I think everyone's just got a chance of getting points from anywhere, and you're going to have to be really on form against the teams around you this year to sort of have a chance of staying up. And I just don't think that Huddersfield have got the edge over those teams around them.
The competition in the Premier League as a whole is strengthened a lot.
Yeah. Last season, for example, I think it was about 7th down. All the teams, you looked there and you looked at their season and they'd not had a great season, and you just thought there was like two separate leagues, and there was the Elite League and then the teams below, and
it was almost like there was a separate competition for like the bottom half of the table.
Yeah, and now with teams, I know we're going to talk about this later, but with teams like Wolves and Fulham coming around, they've got the chance to mix it up a bit and sort of try and smash that barrier and creating just a
newly promoted team looking to finish mid-table mark.
Yeah, I saw a stat. I don't know how much the value was, but the teams that had got promoted into the Europeans' top leagues, there was obviously the Germans, the Italians. In the English one, it was just over 200 million that had been spent, I think. And then in the others, it was like all the teams that had been promoted had spent like maybe not even 10 million. So I think it was just, that's crazy. The amount of money on show just for teams that have been promoted from the second division.
Well, I think Fulham, Fulham have spent over 100 million this window, haven't they? Or right there or thereabouts 100 million.
Yeah, it's something like that. And don't get me wrong, they've pulled in some great players like Schürrle and keeping hold of Sessegnon, another great thing to do.
I think that was their best bit of business, keeping Sessegnon.
Yeah, I think he could. Obviously, it's a bit different now, going into the Premier League, but he's a great talent, and
I think it's good for him. We will talk obviously more in depth about
Fulham of
later.
course.
We'll just say that I think it is good for him that he's given it a season now. Fulham have got to the Premier League with them, so he can get a comfortable amount of game time had.
Yeah.
Because I think if Fulham had have not got promoted, I would have understood him going to another Premier League club.
I think that would have been definitely.
But then it's the question of, would he have got enough game time to help his development as a player? You know, let's say he went to like a Man United, a Chelsea, or a Liverpool, and not necessarily got the game time that he might have been looking for.
Yeah,
so I think ultimately it is a good thing he's decided to stay with Fulham. But like I said, we'll talk about that later. I think we need to obviously mention
my other team for relegation, because we've obviously got Cardiff, we've got Huddersfield. I think.
So we're agreeing on them two so far.
Yeah, I think for me, it could well be, but I wouldn't like to see this, but it could well be Newcastle. And I only say that because there's just a really negative cloud around the club because of obvious reasons with Mike Ashley and the fact that, you know, their biggest signing was House of Fraser.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you see he
That says it all.
spent 90 million on House of Fraser the day after deadline day?
Yeah, it's just another one of those things that Mike Ashley's done, which is a spit in the face to the fans.
Yeah, I actually tweeted something like him doing that was the most Mike Ashley thing he could have possibly done in like the whole of the window.
It is, yeah, and he's just
don't forget House of Fraser as well. Like they're dying business.
Yeah, and he's obviously like now we're going to see white Lonsdale socks being sold at House of Fraser. You know, cool, but we're not going to see Newcastle challenged for anything. And I think now I think Rafa will be gone. I think he will walk.
Yeah, I wouldn't surprise me if Rafa walked before the end of the season.
Yeah, and I think that from there on, if he does walk, which I think he will, it's downhill because how they've still got Rafa Benitez there. It's a mystery. I can't believe he's not walked already. I can't. I think it's crazy.
Personally, like just as an opinion, I think being the type of character Benitez is, unless a huge club actually approaches him before the season ends, I think he'll stick it out until the end of the season and save Newcastle from relegation. Like my
you have Southampton, don't you?
Yeah, my last relegation spot goes to Southampton.
Yep.
I think just purely due to the fact that they have lost arguably their best and most creative player in Tadic, don't forget.
Yeah.
Not really replaced him. And then you look at, so from last season, they were another team that narrowly escaped relegation.
Yeah.
And their side has weakened, if anything.
And just one point about Southampton, Mark Hughes obviously came in, did an alright job.
I don't rate Mark Hughes.
But he did an alright job to keep him up.
Yeah.
But then the news comes out this week that I think it was this week, can't remember when it was to be honest, but they give him a 3-year contract extension. Looking back at Mark Hughes' managerial career, how naive is that from Southampton to give that sort of length contract to him?
Especially when, don't forget, he played a huge part in Stoke being relegated.
Yeah, they should have got rid of him a lot sooner. He's just not. I don't want to say he's not a good manager because I think he's been okay, but I just think that to give him a 3-year contract is really risky.
I think he did a good enough job to keep Southampton up. But realistically, when you looked at what Southampton were going up against last season, the likes of Huddersfield, the struggling West Brom, the Stoke that he'd already gotten relegated, he should have been keeping Southampton up. Because, Southampton don't have the strongest squad, but in comparison to those other teams, they are leaps and bounds ahead of them.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that, obviously, I just think that 3-year thing is a bit of he'll be counting his lucky stars because what'll happen is he won't last that long. He'll be sacked possibly this season. Yeah. And it's just a vicious cycle. They'll probably get someone in like Tony Pulis to replace him. And it'll just be like a cycle. And Mark Hughes isn't going to say anything. He'll be sat happy as Larry that he's getting his payoff. And then he'll be in a job 6 months later. And I think that's just like, for anyone that's coming up wanting to be a football coach or manager.
Like Darren Moore, for example.
Darren Moore.
He's been given the chance now, obviously. Yeah, and
there's a load of, we've got, with Donny, we've just got Grant McCann, who played obviously for Peterborough. And a great career with them. He's coming up now. He's another one. Gareth Ainsworth at Wickham. He got them promoted. There's a lot of young ex-pros that are coming up and are starting to make a mark on the managerial scene. And I think that when you just look at the Premier League and you see the same characters, you've got your Sam Allardyce, he'll be in a job somewhere soon. You've got Mark Hughes, possibly Tony Pulis if he comes back. Alan Pardew. It's just like the same old recycle of managers that they can do a job and get you maybe to stay up, but they're not really progressive. I think that needs to change as the years go on.
Well, I think that's why Everton did so well with the Allardyce situation. Everton for quite a big part of last season looked like they were going to struggle to.
They did.
To get away from the relegation zone. They brought in Allardyce, and then he did exactly what he does best. he kept them up. He pushed them into around about the 10th spot, but then couldn't do any more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where managers like that sort of come to they sort of hit the wall, as you would say.
They sort of petered off towards the end of the season, didn't they?
Yeah.
But can we just, before we go on further talking about Everton, the stupidest thing I've ever heard, Richarlison, when he was signed, he said that as a kid he used to watch Everton. Can we, how, I don't know how this hasn't been sort of ridiculed and ripped into.
Because Everton aren't a big enough club for people to care.
Well, no, let's just take this right. So Richarlison kid, he's in maybe the favelas of Brazil. I don't know. He's Brazilian, so you'd think that, because that's what Brazil is like. He's not watching Man United. He's not watching Real Madrid. He's not watching Barcelona. He's not watching Liverpool back then. He's watching Everton. I just don't buy it, and I think that if you're going to lie, at least make it a realistic lie. Like, come out and say they offered me a good price, and I just wanted to move there to progress my career. Don't say, yeah, I used to watch them when I was a kid when I was in Brazil, because it's just no one buys it.
Yeah, exactly. I think even obviously Everton fans aren't stupid enough to sort of believe that, they see
no one is.
And I think it's one of those things where, he had a good start to the season with Watford. He kind of
scored today as well, to be fair to him, against Wolves.
He was another one that did peter off towards the end of the season.
With 12 goals in the first half, and then he just didn't score anything else.
I think it was his fitness levels more than anything. I think you could see towards the second half of the season he was struggling to stay on the pitch for 90 minutes.
Yeah. He's a promising signing, though. I think everyone goes on about 50 million is too much, but that's just today's market. That's how it is.
Exactly.
You either pay that or you get someone that's not as good.
The most average of players in this market will cost you 30 million.
Easy, yeah. So
you look at. Okay, he's a very promising goalkeeper. Got an international cap, but the Kepa that Chelsea have just signed, 71.5 million.
Yeah.
No one, let's face it, no one's heard of him before. Apart from those that might follow the Spanish league
and play Football Manager, because probably in 20 years' time he's a great player, and he's and you'd know him off Football Manager or FIFA careers, but at the end of the day, he's yet to. Obviously, he's not played yet. So he's played today. I think probably. I don't even know if he played today or not.
Down at Chelsea won today.
Yeah. So, and I think they won. They won. Don't get me wrong. It was 2-0 last time I checked, because I was at the Donny game, so it was on the same time. But he's one for the future. That's for sure. But to give 71 million for something for the future, it's a big risk. And
to be fair, though, they had to do it.
It was a panic buy, though, I think.
I think it was one of them things where they needed to sign a keeper of decent quality that has potential as well, and it came to the point where Bilbao just sort of held them to ransom. Yeah,
so obviously at this time of recording, Chelsea did win 3-0, so he did keep a clean sheet. Fair play, and I think Huddersfield is one of the teams we've tipped for relegation, so you'd expect them to win. Mm-hmm. I did hear that a lot of the game, Huddersfield were in it, and they were probably the better footballing team. And again, you could probably expect that, because Chelsea have had to adapt this to the new manager. It's a complete opposite scale on the spectrum of how to play. So I think they're going to have obviously a 3-0 win on the first day is brilliant, but they're going to have to really get to know how he wants his team playing really quickly. Otherwise, they'll just, against the big teams, they won't do it. You saw it against Man City in the Community Shield. I know it's just a glorified friendly, but
no, that's exactly what I was talking about. This is a good opportunity to move into the Europa League spots, because I do think Chelsea will get Europa League. I think they'll finish 6th. When I first predicted them to finish 6th in that first video, I got a message off Ben in the group chat.
Shout out to Ben.
Just if he's watching, basically just having a discussion, just sort of telling me why he thinks Chelsea would be dark horses and could finish inside the top
four. What were some of his points?
Barkley would be like a new signing this season. there's some banging coming from upstairs. That can't be sure what it is.
Has your cousin lost on FIFA or something?
Probably.
It's raw, guys. It's unedited. That's what you're going to get with this podcast.
This is like, you're going to see stuff in this podcast whereby, like in a lot of the videos, stuff will go wrong.
Yeah.
They get edited out like they're not even there.
But you don't want to do it with this, do you?
No.
No.
One, it's too much work. And two,
Yeah.
it's just nice to keep it raw.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway,
so what was his point?
Barkley would be like a new signing.
Yeah, I can see maybe.
Obviously the signing of don't want to pronounce it. Jorginho.
Yeah, Jorginho. Yeah.
Right.
Scored a good penalty there. I saw the penalty. It was a good penalty.
And I can't. I'm not going to pretend I've seen him play. I haven't seen him play.
Yeah.
But I've heard that he's an incredible player.
Yeah.
And for teams like Manchester City and Barcelona to want him as well, it kind of makes.
And he chose Chelsea over them. It says a lot. So yeah, that's a good point.
I think he does. He's got a very good relationship with Sarri, though. Obviously from
Napoli. Yeah.
Which obviously, it must have played a huge factor in it.
Yep.
But I think
also you got Loftus-Cheek as well, who after the World Cup, he only played. I think he came on, didn't he, as a sub? Limited amount, and he was impressive when he came on. So I think that now he's back from Crystal Palace, his loan. I think he's one that you definitely would think he's going to come on as from the bench and have an impact, because that's exactly what happened at the World Cup with England. He came on and had an impact and ended up winning that game. So he's another player who I could see having a big impact on his squad, maybe albeit from the bench.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
But look at the other teams around him.
Yeah,
you just don't think.
You look at City are obviously, I think City are going to be mind blown again this season.
Yeah.
Liverpool have strengthened in the areas that they desperately needed to.
Liverpool have probably strengthened better than any team in the Premier League, which is just great for them.
Arsenal have strengthened in all the right areas.
They have, but again, I don't think they've got as good a team as Liverpool, City, or Chelsea, or Man United.
I don't think Arsenal have the team to go for the title challenge.
No.
Top four, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think with Chelsea, I think they need to take this as a kind of like a bedding in season with Sarri. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they've been playing counter-attacking football, sitting deep, hitting teams on the counter-attack for a number of years now. Obviously, they did it with Mourinho. They were doing the same thing with Conte. Sarri's now trying to bring this expansive football to the team, and that change of tactics is so dramatic.
Yeah.
It can't be done over the course of one season.
But he'll be judged over one season, because that's what Roman Abramovich does. So if he doesn't get it right...
Yeah, this was another thing I mentioned, with how critical Chelsea are of the managers.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say he'll be sacked after one season.
I don't think he will. I think it's the usual 2-season thing.
But I think I can't see him being able to get it right this season, because he's still not properly got his Chelsea squad. Mm-hmm. And the players, obviously you mentioned the Manchester City game in the Community Shield. Mm-hmm. You saw glimpses of them trying to play that expansive football, but at times the players looked lost. They didn't know what they were doing. And I think it is going to take the season for them to properly get their heads around what Sarri wants and expects from them, as well as him bringing in a couple more players to complete his squad. And I think obviously the fact they haven't signed a forward, to me, is baffling.
I think Morata's going to struggle again. In that system, he'll struggle.
Morata's confidence is on the floor. Uh-huh. Nothing. He can't score to save his life. Nothing seems to be able to. It's almost a bit like a Karius situation with Liverpool. Where it came.
Just nothing's going for him.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
And it came to the point where, with obviously Karius and Liverpool.
I think someone's trying to redecorate in the house.
Again, apologies.
It's live, folks. It's live. This is what happens. No, just briefly we're talking about Europa League for places. One question for you: how do you think Burnley are going to do? Because they haven't really strengthened too well, and they've got to contend with if they get into the. Obviously, they're going in 0-0 on aggregate. They didn't get an away goal, and it's at Turf Moor. I don't know when it is. It's this week. If they get into the group stage of the Europa League, I just don't think they'll do well in the league because they've got extra games to contend with and they're not strengthened. What do you think?
With Burnley, like you just said, they've not strengthened.
Yeah.
Another thing with Sean Dyche is he doesn't like to rotate his team. He likes his same 11.
Yeah.
And I think he's quite known for sort of keeping that same 11.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The Europa League, honestly, I think will be their main target this season. I think they're going to put everything into that, and I think they could go quite far, maybe round of 16, quarters maybe. If they play their cards right and maybe get the luck of the draw. Mm-hmm. In terms of the league, I'm not expecting top 10.
When you put all your focus into I say secondary competition, but I don't mean it to say that it's not as important. Because obviously it would be so important if they won it. When you put all your efforts into one, when you put all your efforts into one separate competition that's not the league, I feel like you shoot yourself in the foot in the sense that it's on you now. Whatever happens, if you've not focused enough on that league, you'll be down because if you think of it as a secondary achievement to stay in the league, that's just a recipe for disaster. And I feel like they'll be down there if that's what happens.
I think it was always going to be a hard task though with Burnley because they don't have the funds to be a European squad. Simply because they don't have the money to have a team with that much depth that's able to play domestic football and European football. So I think that was always going to be the sort of, what's the phrase? I don't want to say elephant in the room. That's the wrong phrase. Like the sort of shadow or the
shadow had it hanging over him.
Which sort of came with all the adulations of getting European football. So obviously it was
I know what you mean.
Incredible achievement for them, but
it could turn out to be, a problem for them when it was really actually at the time it was a brilliant achievement.
Yeah,
it might overshadow it.
It could have completely screwed them over.
Yeah.
If they don't get, if they don't win the competition or get into a respective position of the competition.
Yeah.
And flop in the league.
Yeah. So, who did you have for your Europa League spots?
West Ham.
What number? Like in the table?
Oh wait, sorry. We've got. Oh God, let me think here. So in fifth, I'd got Tottenham.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because they're not strengthened?
Yeah, because they've not strengthened, and I think just the depth with Tottenham, like obviously, like I just mentioned with Burnley there as well.
Yeah.
So Tottenham have obviously again got the Champions League to play in.
Right.
Let's say any of these players, Harry Kane, he's not fit, tired legs, suspended, whatever. For whatever reason, he can't play. Their next best striker is Llorente, or if they was to put Son up front, they've then got to cover his position, who they'd have to play Lucas out of position to cover that.
Yeah, the squad depth isn't there.
You then look at Eriksen, if he goes missing, nobody has the technical, or anywhere near the technical ability of Eriksen in that Spurs squad. I don't even know who would. They'd probably have to push Dele Alli further forward.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't have the passing range, the shooting, the sort of ability to read the game like Eriksen does.
No, I think that's right.
Let's say you do that and you push Ali forward. Who do you then put in Ali's position? You know what I mean?
It's like, well, you take one out, you've got to replace them, and they don't have the people to replace them with.
And I don't think they'll miss out by a lot. I think it'll be a matter of points, possibly down to the final game of the season that sees them miss out on Champions League.
Yeah.
But I think they'll get fifth. I've got Chelsea sixth, I don't know. I've got 7. West Ham. I've put 7.
West Ham. I see West Ham. I see maybe Everton going
Everton,
around
I've
7,
put,
6.
I've put Everton just behind West Ham in 8.
Yeah.
I think they'll take West Ham maybe to the wire for the 7th spot.
I don't think they've got brilliant centre backs though. I know obviously they've got rid of Ashley Williams. He's gone.
Was terrible.
Yeah, he was terrible for them. Jagielka today getting sent off. So if they're going to be wanting Jagielka to be a regular, he's tired legs now. He's been around for a long time. I don't think that from that perspective that could be an issue for Everton. Mm-hmm. But their attacking players have got a lot of potential to do well. So it might be a case for them of, look, we've got to go out here and play expansive football and score more than we concede. And if we can do that, then that's just how we're going to set up. And fair play to them if they can do that, fair enough. But that could be an issue. West Ham, they've got a great manager in.
Well, he's won the Premier League.
Exactly, yeah. So he's a good manager. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to play football. He's a winner. And also the players that they brought in, Wilshere, I know people don't really rate him because he's very injury prone and he could get injured again. But on his day, he's a really good player. He can change the game. And again, it's like
Lucas Perez as well. Sorry,
Lucas Perez. Yeah.
Him. I think he is honestly. I think he's a great striker.
Yeah.
He just wasn't given the time at Arsenal.
He did very well in La Liga.
Yeah,
very well.
I think had Arsene Wenger given him more time, I think. Well, to be fair, I think it's probably a good thing because I feel like they maybe wouldn't have signed either Lacazette or Aubameyang. But at the same time, I think he would have been their starting striker and done a good job for them as
well. Okay, so this is going to link into my dark horses of the season, but Europa League spots, is it 6th and 5th if one of the cup winners are in the top 4?
Yeah.
Right.
Which
presumably one of the top 4 are going to win the cups, one of the cups. I'm going to say Wolves. And I'm going to say Wolves because for 6th. I'm going to say it for 6th because I know it's a big claim. It's not a very popular thing.
Wait,
but
so who out of the top 6 to miss out?
I'm going to say it's going to probably be Chelsea.
Okay, I think if it was going to be someone, it would be.
Yeah, because I feel like they're the sort of team, Chelsea. They when they play on the day, they're better than a lot of teams. But I don't know if the players will back him, the manager, because when you keep getting these new managers in, there's going to be a time where you just think, oh, sod this, I can't be arsed.
Like he's going to be gone in a season.
So I'm just going to try and hopefully avoid getting injured, and just basically do the bare minimum. So I feel like if that happens, that'll be why they drop out of the top 6. But Wolves, their signings have been great. Their signings have been very Portuguese, which is great for team cohesion because I don't know what it is now, but the good percentage of their squad is now Portuguese, and obviously they've got a Portuguese manager, Nuno. He's done really well in the Championship. It's a different league, I know, completely. But also he's done well with his signings. Ruben Neves, he's one of the... honestly, he's one of the best players I've seen in the Championship, hands down. It was obviously too big for that league, and quite rightly they got promoted. So I think this year, we've already seen today, he scored an absolute banger of a free kick against Everton.
Against Pickford as well.
Against Pickford, who's one of the standout keepers in the World Cup. And I just think, how is that guy playing there? He was a captain of, who was it, Lisbon? Sporting Lisbon, when he was 19. How many people do you know that go to a senior club and after, I think it was only 2 years of professional football, or maybe just a year, become captain of the team? It's crazy. So the guy has got confidence, experience, and technique, and he's like the perfect sort of skills for a midfielder. And I feel like this will be a season for Wolves to do big things. Like I said, I think they might get Europa League. And two, that the best make most of them this year because he is not going to be there next season. I can almost guarantee that to you that he won't be there next season.
No, he'll be at
probably a better Premier League team, or if not, a Spanish team or an Italian team.
To be fair, I think it's probably quite bold me saying this because Manchester City don't need to improve at all. But if City was to improve, you look at the likes of David Silva. He's only got what he can do left in him for a year
couple
or
seasons,
two
yeah,
left,
maybe.
And imagine they look to bring into.
He'd be a brilliant acquisition for City because you've got the likes of David Silva to coach him because he's probably going to stay on at City as a coach to coach him, and also you've got Mikel Arteta, who let's not forget he was tipped to the Arsenal job, but he didn't. I don't know what happened. Either they picked Emre over him or whatever. He was one of the names up there. It would make sense, yeah, and I think that was the right choice. But Arteta, he's quite clearly a coach who's up and coming. And someone who can probably develop the game of Neves. Not that it needs that much developing, but I think that he would be a great signing for someone like City. So I think Wolves, yeah, they're my dark horses of the season, and I think they might get the Europa League spot. It's a very bold claim, I know, by the way.
They are also my dark horses, but I've tipped them to finish inside the top 10. I've tipped them to finish, 9th, I think it was.
Quite easily can happen as well, by the way, because that's gap from 9th to 7th, 6th sort of thing. Maybe 6th.
I think, just for me, in my personal opinion, I think it is so incredibly hard for a team outside of that big 6 to finish inside.
Yeah, maybe I'm saying Wolves will get there out of pure hope, because I just want someone to upset the apple cart.
I just think even though Chelsea haven't, well, I mean, I say they haven't spent a load. They've still spent about 90 odd million.
Yeah.
But to compete in that top 6, to get in that top 6 in the English league, you have to be spending hundreds of millions.
Yeah, no doubt.
You have to, and it's every other team in the league simply don't have the funds to be able to chuck 100, 200 million each transfer window and season in, season out, strengthening their squad that much and creating these absolutely world class players. And when they do sort of bring up their own players, the bottom sides, like Ruben Neves, for example, they are then players that are just going to be inevitably sold to the bigger clubs to strengthen them even more.
Yeah. Let's not forget that Wolves have got a lot of money behind them, a lot of financial backing. So they could possibly just throw the cash. I know they're throwing the cash a lot now, but more cash. But you never know.
At the same time,
the aspirations
the other big boys
of
are
other
just
teams,
going to be going up and up and up. It could happen.
Well, you see that, but last year when City were wanting to sign Mahrez, they wouldn't go over... Sorry, no, it was Sanchez. They wouldn't go over a certain price, and that's what led to Sanchez going to United. So sometimes maybe they don't want to spend too much.
I think ultimately that was... City didn't actually need Sanchez.
I agree with that.
Gabriel Jesus was injured, Sané was injured at the time. So it was more City... They'd already got the relief wrapped up, but it was like City was like, we've got these two players injured, we need to bring somebody in that's of world-class quality to solidify the league, basically. And, help them in the Champions League campaign as well, obviously. But they didn't actually need Sanchez, and I think they obviously knew that Sanchez's contract at Arsenal was ticking.
Yeah.
So I think they almost maybe tried to be like, I don't know, almost maybe get Sanchez to hold Arsenal to ransom, and so City being like, we're not paying over 60 million, and hope that Sanchez will force the move.
Yeah, I get
But then United were a team that I guess they did need Sanchez. They
Yeah.
didn't have a player of his style and ability.
Flair.
Yeah, like they had. I think I'd say the closest is probably Anthony Martial. But
Yeah.
don't forget, Mourinho loves his players tracking back, and Sanchez is a workhorse. Like he loses the ball, he's sprinting 50 yards back to pick it back up. Whereas Martial won't do that; he'll sort of stay and linger around the halfway line.
Yeah, I
So
think
you
so.
understand that's why United threw the cash at him. I think that was probably. I think that was probably the only reason why Sanchez did go to United. Just
Yeah.
City. I think City would have spent the money had they have actually needed him, but I just don't think they did.
Okay. On that note, I'm just gonna go get a drink.
Okay.
What's the next one we have to do? Talk about.
So we're going to run through the individual nominations for the league. That being things like the player of the season,
Yep.
the young player of the season, top goal scorer.
Wait, we haven't said our top four though, have we?
Um,
Quickly, let's do
Okay,
a top four.
so
You
my-
tell me yours.
Top four. First, I'm going City.
Yeah.
Second, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Third,
I agree with those two, so they're mine. Yeah.
Third, United.
No, not for me. I think
Four.
third will be. Uh,
I'm going fourth Arsenal as well, by the way.
okay, third I'll go Spurs. Fourth I'll go Arsenal. Fifth I'll go.
United.
Yeah. And then obviously sixth was my dark horse Wolves. It's a big shout,
Yeah, it's a
and
big-
you're gonna play
mad
this to me. You're gonna play this to me when Wolves get relegated or something, and that's fine. But that's what us journalists like to do. They like to throw those out there and get people talking. So there you go. There's my pipe bomb.
Yeah.
I've thrown it. Wolves to get Europa League.
Jesus, it's a big shout. Big shout. Okay, so player of the season.
Such a tough one to call when there's only been one
Yeah.
game.
I think
I don't think you can look any further than again the usual suspects of either Kevin De Bruyne or Leroy Sané. Or,
the big boy Mo Salah. I think he'll do it again.
well,
2 years on the bounce.
it's a big shout because surely you're going to have to look at it when they're deciding who's got it. Has he? He's not lived up to the same thing because is he going to really score as many goals?
I don't think. Look, he scored 44 goals in total last season for Liverpool. That's obviously a ridiculous number.
Yeah. And let's
No.
not forget that horrible end to the season. I don't want to remind you of it, but the horrible end to his, when he got injured,
Yeah.
that might have had an impact for this start of the season.
I mean, from what I've, I mean, I know it's only pre-season, but
Yeah, the friendlies and that. They've done well.
You can only go off from what you have seen since the injury.
Yeah.
And he did as much as what you could ask him to do for Egypt in the squad that he was in.
Mm-hmm.
And for Liverpool this pre-season, he's looked sharp. He's scored a couple of goals similar to the kind of goals he was scoring last season.
Yep.
I know, we haven't played the best opposition. Well, I say we haven't played the best opposition. We've played City, United, Napoli.
But a lot of the players have not been there from the World
Yeah.
Cup and that, which you have to put in.
And I don't know. I think with Liverpool now riding a title challenge, I think his goals, because leading into the top goal scorer, I think he's going to get the Golden Boot again.
Okay.
And I think that will tip him again for player of the season. I don't think he'll get 44 again, and I think it would be wrong of anybody to say that he's a one season wonder if he doesn't get 44, because you can't, you could.
It's one of those targets that you just can't.
Yeah.
Probably, well, you can, but it's unlikely he's going to do it again.
But he will still get, and this is me almost saying as a fact because I believe it that strongly, he will still get 30 plus next season.
I agree.
And I think those goals, I think he'll be the top goal scorer in the Premier League, taking Liverpool to second place. And I think that will give him the edge over maybe like a Kane, an Aguero, a De Bruyne, one of those kinds of players.
I'm going to have to agree with you again on top scorer of Salah because, like you said about Kane, just needs an injury and he's not been great. He's not been fully fit for the World Cup. He just needs an injury to miss out on a few games, like last year, or a red card, or probably not a red card because he's not that kind of player really. But something, and also you talk about Eriksen or one of those sort of creative players. They get injured, they miss out. He hasn't got the service,
Exactly.
so really,
And
I just don't think he will get a top. I think he'll be the second. And I think, just to go, I'll go third, second, first. Third's going to be Arnautovic.
Wait, what's this for?
Top goal scorers.
Right. Okay.
Third's going to be Arnautovic. I think he's going to be West Ham's focal point, and because of the players that they've added, he's going to get more service. Second, Kane, because he's a superstar, and even if he's not got the service, a lot of the time he still will score goals because that's just what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And then Salah first.
Okay. I mean,
I know Arnautovic is a bit of a shout, but
similar lines. I think I'm gonna have to put Aguero in third though. I think.
But they've got so many players that can put the ball in the back of the net.
I think Aguero this season is gonna come back with a bang. Like I know he's still been good the past couple of seasons, but I think the past couple of seasons
he's been injured a lot as well, hasn't
he? He's kind of been a shadow of what we saw 3-4 years ago.
Yep.
And I think this is the season where he comes back with a bang.
I could see it. It's definitely a possibility.
I think Guardiola's maybe just realising that Aguero has so much quality over Jesus. Jesus, good player. Don't get me wrong, good player.
Yeah, not a very good World Cup though at all.
No, terrible World Cup actually. A lot of Jesus's goals are it's all right place, right time. He doesn't create anything for himself.
Yeah.
He's not
getting on the end. He's always getting on the end, isn't he?
Yeah. And I feel like Guardiola's just started to notice that, and that's Aguero's going to sort of be his number 9, and Gabriel Jesus is going to be starting on the bench for the majority of the season, I think.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Fair enough.
So that's just my reasons why for that. I think they're moving on over to the. We'll go for the young player of the year next, and.
Do you know is it the age? Is it 23?
Yeah.
How old's Leroy Sané?
I think he had. No, I think he's still in the bracket.
Because if he's in the bracket,
he's 22.
That's my young player of the season. You saw it against Chelsea. His pace is absolutely lethal.
Yeah.
And on the counter, City are going to blow teams away. And I think that because with City winning the league, which is probably what's going to happen, I think it's going to happen. You think it's going to happen? Most of the people in the UK or wherever think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
The fact that there's so many players in there that make the team, he won't win player of the season. And also the fact that they can give him young player of the season because he's in that bracket, that's why he'll win young player. And you think Salah player of the season, I'm going to say Salah or Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Those two. I couldn't. When you said Salah, I was like, you know what? Definitely possible.
Yeah.
So I think Kevin De Bruyne or Salah. If Kevin De Bruyne goes on and gets like 30 odd assists or whatever, something daft, he'll win it.
So if we just jump into the top assists now,
yeah,
I think that is between De Bruyne and Naby Keita.
Really?
Yeah.
Is Keita that kind of player, a playmaker?
He's an assist machine.
Really?
And he scores a bag full of goals as well. He's
fair enough.
He's a midfielder. You can play him cam, centre mid, either side on right midfield, left midfield, CDM. He's a complete midfielder.
Versatile.
And, yeah, very versatile. And I watched a lot of his highlights at Leipzig last year. Obviously, we signed
you knew,
technically.
yeah. He was on the way.
His sort of his ability to drive with the ball. He's a bit like just a better Oxlade-Chamberlain almost, in the sense of how he can pick up the ball from deep, drive forward, and play that sort of the cutting edge pass, or you can go for goal. Like he's so capable of scoring, from 30, 40 yards out. And as well, pre-season he was replicating that with Liverpool.
Yeah.
He'd pick up the ball, he'd drive with it, and he was just finding these inch-perfect through balls to Salah and Mane on either side each time. They were either, they were putting the ball in the back of the net for themselves.
Yep.
Cutting it back to Firmino. Like he was like Naby Keita has impressed me the most this pre-season, like out of anybody. Like he's looked genuinely incredible. And I think he'll be up there with De Bruyne for top assist. For me, it's so close to call because I think it depends on who. I think if I was to say who's going to be top goal scorers, I think I'd say Manchester City.
Yeah.
But I feel like the front three of Liverpool, like Salah, Mane, Firmino, are going to get a bag full of goals each.
Yeah.
And I feel like the main provider for those goals will be him, as I feel he'll play more of, like, with obviously the signing of Fabinho, having Keita, the other midfielder, with obviously Ox looking like he's finished for the entire of the season.
So disappointing as well, really bad.
I have to big him up as well, by the way, he didn't tell the rest of the players, or like he wanted them to go and fully focus on the on the Champions League and the rest of the league without having to worry about him.
Yeah,
as obviously he knew the extent of his injury straight away.
I mean it's so disappointing for him because he's a great player.
It looks like he's going to
for England as well, not just Liverpool. He's a massive. Because he was one of them players that if we'd have had him in the World Cup, you could have unlocked it
Croatia.
And unlocked. Just in general, we would have scored more goals, I think.
But yeah, it looks like he's going to miss the remainder of the season, if not the majority of it.
Yeah.
He's possibly going to be back for just around the end of it. So it looks like the other midfielder will be Henderson, obviously.
Good World Cup,
captain,
great World Cup. So
with Henderson and Fabinho being two more, defensive-minded players, that gives Keita the license to run forward with all that space, directly behind the front three. I think the majority of Liverpool's goals will come through
Keita.
Through Keita, yeah. So,
well, I think De Bruyne is just going to absolutely take it with ease. That's just because of his last season and the quality that he possesses.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree just on the basis of we've seen him do it in the Premier League already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But obviously, I'm really looking forward to seeing Keita.
I know Naby's got it in his locker.
Yeah.
But I think just because obviously he's not played in the Premier League yet, I have to give it to De Bruyne because we don't know what might.
It's an
happen.
unknown thing. Yeah, you just don't know. Yeah, so De Bruyne for assist for me.
Yeah.
What else have we got?
We've got
Golden Glove.
Yeah, Golden Glove.
De Gea.
I think it has to be De Gea.
Uh-huh.
Like, I can't see anybody else getting it. Like,
yeah.
Edison,
possibly. But he probably deserves a golden boot in the sense that he's better with his feet.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking away his skills as a goalkeeper because I think he's a brilliant goalkeeper. I just think he's a brilliant playmaker goalkeeper as well, sweeper keeper. So, but yeah, Golden Glove, De Gea.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't look past him. He's just fantastic, and the fact that they've actually been able to keep hold of him again, it's a credit to Man United.
They are gonna Madrid have got Courtois now.
Yeah, so where's he actually going to go?
It looks like
he's going to stay, which is brilliant for United. Watching them against Leicester last night, they were good.
I didn't actually watch the game. I fell
Yeah,
asleep.
I know that.
I managed to catch the highlights there.
Yeah. I thought they were okay. I didn't think they were inspiring. I thought Luke Shaw, thank God to him, because I root for him because of his his English. So I think I'm always looking to the bigger picture, because obviously being a fan of a team that's in a lower league, I look and watch the Premier League with no bias, no twisted thoughts in the sense that because I like a team, I think this or whatever. There's no bias or anything. I watch it with just free, open flow, looking at it how it's going to happen, and just think the benefit of England for tournaments and this new Nations League that's coming out. Luke Shaw, he had a great game. He was doing everything that he didn't do last year, in the sense that he was bombing up that left, he was attacking, he was a presence, and you could see that they were not worried, but you could see that every time he got hold of the ball, something could happen down that left wing, which is great to see, because obviously he's had that whole thing about the weight and him being injured and that, so good for him in that sense. They were good, Man United, they weren't great. Leicester should have probably got a draw out of it, because they were on top for the majority of the game. But yeah, I think it was inspiring. It was just okay. So that's the only one that I've properly watched at the minute, because we haven't watched Match of the Day because it's not actually been broadcast yet at the time of recording. So I watched a bit of the Spurs Newcastle game. I saw the goals. I watched a bit of that game. Yeah, I thought that Spurs, it was just a fairly routine win. But Newcastle's goal was really good. I like Newcastle's goal. Worked.
I think, as well as obviously Newcastle's goal being a header, so it maybe sounds a bit odd me sort of pointing this out, but Spurs, I feel like Spurs lacked the freedom today that we saw last season. They looked like they were trying to play the sort of high ball quite a lot, trying to...
I think you have to think that that's because of Newcastle, how they controlled the game, because Newcastle are good at controlling the game.
Newcastle were good today.
Yeah.
And I don't believe they could have / should have maybe come out with a draw today.
Yeah, and like I said, I've tipped them for relegation, because I do think that the whole negative things around the club is going to be their downfall. But they did show signs of a good team. There was a moment in the first half where Spurs were pressuring them, and they confidently played the ball out of defence, which you sometimes don't see with these kind of teams. They just punt it up, and they confidently played it out, and they got a massive cheer. And I just saw that, and I just sort of thought, that's good football. Well, that's really well done. So maybe if they have more of that, they're going to make me look like an idiot. Fair enough. I don't mind being made to look like an idiot if it's good football. The reason for it. So so we were on about the Golden Glove, De Gea, easy shout to be honest. What else have we got to get through?
I think the only other person in question would maybe be Edison.
Edison, I agree.
Or,
Alisson, though, let's not discount him. He's a good signing. He's for you. He's a brilliant signing.
I think
it's what you needed. The only thing you probably really needed.
For me, just because of how much we needed him, it has to be the signing.
And we haven't really spoken about it on camera since.
No.
What do you think about Karius? Because there's a lot of fans that back him, a lot of fans that really don't back him, and they're saying some horrible things online, which is just don't do it. It's just not nice.
I don't condone
come on. Come on. He's got a family. He's got a... Just don't... Why are you sending death threats to people online anyway? But Karius, he made two of the biggest mistakes I've ever seen on a football pitch, hands down.
We were at Anfield for that.
Yeah, we watched that at Anfield.
I did begin to make a vlog.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for not going through with uploading that.
I think emotions were running high.
Yeah.
I couldn't finish. I didn't have the energy in me to finish it,
fair
despite what my Snapchat
enough.
might have said.
Yeah, fair enough. But
China in the streets.
Yeah, no, it ended good because it was just a show of. And this is me. I'm not obviously the top I'm wearing. I'm not a Premier League fan. I'm a Premier League fan. I'm not a Premier League team fan. So I don't support anyone in the Premier League really. But the fans at Liverpool on that night of when they lost the Champions League final, it was brilliant to see how together and how uplifting they were. It was, and God knows what would have happened if they would have won. Because, geez, like that, it was great to see. And it just because we were sat, I remember it perfectly. We were sat in was it a Subway? And all of a sudden you see these red flares going off, these chanting just uproaring, and you just think like, I wish that I had fans like that I could sort of be with Donny, and you're never going to get that for me, I don't think, because obviously we're a small team. But I just enjoyed it, and I went out and saw it, and I was just like, you know what, this is all about what being a football fan is.
Yeah, exactly. And
win or lose, support your team.
And I think that I am just going to talk about Liverpool just for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't me coming across being biased because I'm a Liverpool fan. This is me looking at events in, history and big games.
Yeah.
And looking at how our fans have reacted to certain moments in comparison to others.
Yeah.
I believe Liverpool have the best
I knew you were going to say
fan
this.
base in terms of support for the club.
Yeah.
I'd put them maybe Dortmund, Celtic, and
South American fans. They are very passionate.
All of them in that top bracket because of the support for the club is incredible.
It's undying. It's undying.
No matter what happens, and I think what I do just want to say about Liverpool as well is obviously we had some nasty comments from Mourinho after our spending this summer, and a lot of fans have jumped on the bandwagon saying, okay, Klopp has spent all this money, he now has to win the title, like he has to win it.
Yeah.
For me, that's not true. The season has not been a failure by any stretch of the imagination if we don't win the title.
Do you think you need to win a cup then? Because obviously in the past years you've not really impressed in the cup.
Look, I think we're getting to the point now where we should be really looking to win something. Yeah,
silverware of some description.
I'm not, depending on how the season goes and how much of how well we fight for City for the title and how well we get in the Champions League again.
I think that it won't be a one-horse race. I think it'll be a two-horse race.
Yeah, I wouldn't call the season a failure if we didn't win something.
No, because that City team is just
I think
blows your mind.
At the end of the day, if City do what they did last season, and they get 100 points,
can you imagine if they did that again?
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
If they do that again, it's not our fault. Like we can't. No
normal team ever has got 100 points and competed with 100 points.
We can't help the fact that City have won all. We're not playing against City every week. We can't help the fact that
the only thing you can help is by matching results, in the sense that in the past you've slipped up against worse off teams. If you can fix that and sort of be relentless and mercurial, you'll match it.
And I think that's why the signings of, for example, Fabinho and Alisson were so important. And obviously, let's not forget Van Dijk last January.
Now we've got a full season of him.
Yeah.
At the start, you slipped up with Lovren a little bit.
We were so poor in that first half of
the
season.
Yeah.
We brought Van Dijk in, and don't forget, Van Dijk came into a defence that was all over the place.
Yeah,
and a lot of people were saying, including myself, that Van Dijk, as great as he is, can't come into that defence and change it. But he did.
Yeah.
I don't know how or in what way. Maybe it was, morale played a factor in it of people being uplifted at the fact that we had a commanding leader in the back.
Yeah.
But he transformed that defence in the league anyway. Champions League final, obviously Karius, because he did start performing.
It was just literally the Bale goal was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I've never seen a goal like it. Amazing.
The
Benzema goal, jeez, what is going on there?
He had so much time to think about
it. Let's not go into that because we could talk for ages about what he was thinking, what he was doing.
Your original question, was about Karius.
Yeah. What are your feelings?
So, I'll go through it briefly. So, at the time it happened, I'm going to be completely honest, I was effing, I was bawling, I say he should never, ever play
I'll
for
vouch for that and say
ever again.
You were definitely.
I was so angry, so upset with him. It then seemed after Roma and Atletico Madrid were demanding so much money for Alisson and Oblak, it seemed Klopp had decided he was going to stick with Karius as number one. Now, at that point, I was happy to stand there and say, okay, it's not what I would have done, but because I have so much faith in Klopp, if he thinks Karius is good enough to stay as our number one, I'll support that. And, we'll get behind... And I just want to clarify, so, after the mistakes at Tranmere and... I can't believe it was someone else we played really early on in the pre-season...
that wasn't a mistake in the match, though. It was a mistake in the training.
No.
You mean the clip? It was
before the Tranmere game.
Yeah. There was a clip of him training up, wasn't there?
During the Tranmere game, he dropped the ball, which led to a goal.
Yeah.
And then in the game after the Tranmere game, he did the same thing.
Right.
Now,
I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah. Now, he was laughed at and mocked by...
He was mocked by the Tranmere player... I don't know if it was the one who scored, but...
Yeah, no, he didn't. He wasn't the one
who
scored the goal.
But he was a Liverpool fan. He went to the final. The final, Fair play. If you're going to say that, I wouldn't... If I was a player on that pitch and I was a Liverpool fan, I wouldn't have said that. But that just... That's me.
I just think it was...
Heat of the moment.
Yeah, like the emotion, because... don't forget, that was still so fresh from the Champions League. And... those games were Karius' chance to prove that he was still capable of being our first team keeper.
Yep.
And he completely cocked it up. Don't get me wrong, after he cocked up those things, if Klopp had still said he's our number one keeper for the season, I would have got behind him, I would have supported him. But we've brought in Alisson. I think it was the right thing to do. I don't think we should sell Karius. I think if he's willing to go out on loan, maybe to a team with a lot less media attention.
I think maybe to a foreign team.
Yeah, a team, like I said, a team that doesn't get as much media attention as Liverpool, where he can sort of quietly go away and improve himself, gain his confidence back.
It's a bit like it's not as bad, but the De Gea situation. He's the player. He actually stayed at United and overcame the criticism.
His first season was awful.
Yeah, but he overcame the criticism by going through it as a baptism by fire. Yeah. Whereas with Karius, I don't think he's got the mentality to keep going and keep playing.
He's been destroyed mentally.
You see the friendlies. He couldn't even do it in a friendly. The guy is obviously he's been affected by it big time. So go out on loan to a foreign team and just do your job. Don't do anything spectacular. It doesn't take that. Just do your job and come back to Liverpool, and then you'll probably, more likely than not, come back to open arms.
Yeah.
Because and after so long, they say that football fans never forget. I don't think they do. I think that'll always be something that they'll think, Karius is blunders.
We'll never feel secure with him between the sticks.
But maybe for him and his own, mentality, to go out on loan is the best thing for him, and then maybe get a move away. Maybe your time. Look, you have to sometimes sit there and go, put your hands up and go, right. I made a massive mistake, and obviously it was the biggest stage, biggest mistake. These fans aren't. And these fans aren't going to forget that. They might respect me. They might give me. They gave him a bigger round of applause when he came on as a sub, in the friendly. But you might have to just cut your losses and go, look, I'm going to have to make it somewhere else. Just move on, leave it in the past.
I think he knows now with Alisson coming in, he's not...
What about Mignolet? Has Mignolet moved?
Mignolet. So
Is he moving?
He's
still alone.
Yeah, no. So we're looking to sell Mignolet.
Okay.
Because he wants to play first team football. I think
I don't blame him with that.
I think that's understandable.
Fine. Yeah. I don't rate him highly. I rate him. Don't rate him highly.
I think he's good enough to be
low down Premier League.
Yeah,
maybe.
like anyone from 10 and 11 and below Premier League. Yeah. I think he's good enough to play for.
Yeah, I think he would have been better to go to Burnley instead of Joe Hart. No knocking Joe Hart. I think he's been brilliant over the years, but I think now he's just lost it a little bit. But we're seriously digressing here.
Yeah.
What was we did our Golden Glove. I've got your opinion on Karius. Mm-hmm. What's our next sort of thing we have to talk about?
Not fully with Karius.
Okay, finish it off.
Yeah, I'll just finish it off by saying, so what I think we should do with him is, obviously, like I mentioned, the loan period.
Yep.
He goes out on loan, he comes back. Now, if he's happy to stay as a second choice keeper for Liverpool, that's fine.
Okay.
If he wants to move on, hopefully he's done well on his loan so we can then get a bit of market value for him.
Yep. How much are you buying for? Do you know?
Oh, Jesus.
You want to make a profit on him, don't you?
It wasn't a lot.
I'll be impressed if you make a profit on him, by the way, but I think that's what Liverpool will do.
If we tried to sell him now, let's face it, no one's coming in for him. No. So...
to be fair, I wouldn't even take him at Donny. And I know that's like a huge thing to say, but you just it's not nothing about his abilities, it's about his mentality.
Yeah, he's a man that is mentally broken.
Yeah. Which anybody would be, let's not forget, anybody would be. Yeah. Unless you're like the strongest mentality going.
But alternatively for him, would be, if he didn't want to go out on loan, is for him to stay at the club.
Yeah.
Maybe give him a Carabao Cup run.
Yeah.
Let him play in that.
Yeah.
Build up his confidence in that. Give him a chance at the club. Build up his market value that way, or alternatively, again, if he's happy to stay a second choice keeper, let him do that. So
if you give him a chance in the Carabao Cup and he goes and spills something again, how many chances do you think that he needs? That he deserves? One more chance and he's gone?
Yeah.
Yeah? I think I would agree with that as well. I think there's only so many times you can mess up.
It's hard to sell him though at this point.
Yeah.
Like, we need him to perform either for us in, like I said, the Carabao Cup, or away on loan somewhere before we're able to get the market value to sell him for anything. I
don't know how many years he's got left on his contract, but it might be a case of with one of those players that you just don't make money on, you just let him go. It might be. It depends on how the season goes and next season, I think. Because he's probably got more than 2 years. Maybe he's got 3 years, 2 years.
I'm thinking around 2-3 years.
Yeah, so just see how it goes.
Him go that I don't think Klopp's the kind of person that would do that. Like, I feel like the thing is with Klopp is sometimes he's not ruthless enough. He's not. No,
he's a bit too matey, friendly.
Yeah, like he's got such a good bond with his players, which is obviously great.
Yeah.
But if they're underperforming, underachieving, it could be a negative thing if he's wanting to keep them around and they don't necessarily deserve to. To 100%, be there.
100%.
I think we'll give an honourable mention. Just coming away off topic.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to be your, I guess, like, dark horse of a player, like a player that maybe in recent times in the Premier League hasn't been as good as what, say, he could have been or should have been.
That's hard.
But this season, and I've got a name, and
that's the only reason you're asking me, because you know.
Yeah.
So you tell me yours, I'll think of mine.
So
you go for it.
Purely because of how sharp, how fit, how hungry he's looked, and in pre-season, and as well in a really inspiring interview he gave, basically saying how hungry he was to be a part of the club and to get back to goal scoring ways, and it's Daniel Sturridge. Honestly,
yeah, he's been good in pre-season, hasn't he?
Incredible. He's scored like 6-7 goals in pre-season, and he's looked fitter than I've ever apart from obviously the 2013-2014 season playing wise, he's looked fitter than I've ever seen him before.
Fair enough.
He looks strong. He looks built.
Okay.
Like he looks stronger. He's physical. Providing he stays fit, he is my dark horse. I think for Liverpool this season, he could get 10 goals.
Okay.
Not in
all
competitions. Not
yeah. I get that. I thought of mine, and I'm going to say someone who I've mentioned before, Luke Shaw. I think this year he's going to show all his critics wrong, and I think that
especially Mourinho.
Exactly, yeah, Mourinho, and everyone. I saw a funny tweet on Twitter, obviously, saying that he was. That just goes to show that bullying people into playing better can actually work, and I had to laugh at that. But obviously, I think that he's now got the tools and the thick skin to be able to hack the pressure and thrive under the pressure and become a good left back and Man United's mainstay left back.
Do you think though? I know Mourinho did actually praise him as well after the game.
Big time as well. He did big time praise.
Do you think though, with Mourinho's sort of arrogance, that because obviously he was playing because Ashley Young got to the latter stage of the World Cup, he wasn't ready to play in that game. Do you think when Ashley Young is ready to play again, he will just jump straight in for Luke Shaw?
To be honest,
do you think?
I would hope not, because I thought that Ashley Young for England he wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but he wasn't fantastic. And I feel like easily Danny Rose could have done the same job. Easily, not Luke Shaw because he was in that bad place.
Rose was my preferred.
Yeah,
choice.
I just don't think he was inspired. I think that if Rose would have played there, he would have had exactly the same, stamp on the game.
He wouldn't have done any worse.
Exactly, yeah. So I would hope that Mourinho sees that, and Mourinho sees that Luke Shaw is actually really hungry to make his mark, and for God's sake, give him a chance, because again, I'm speaking as an England fan here. Now that we've all got this stigma that England are back again, we're here to stay. It's coming home, that sort of thing. We had a great summer of it, but now let's just capitalise on it and let's keep going and let's get these more England players that can turn out for England and play for under Southgate, the better, because when you've got competition for places, it's just better for a team. So that's the same for a national team. I think Luke Shaw, he's had his critics, he's had bad seasons, he's had his fitness issues. This season, I think he can put it all behind him and one, keep Ashley Young out of the team, and then two, go forward and get maybe a few assists, few goals. He scored his first senior goal last night, so fair play to him for that. And when Mourinho is in his interview afterwards, and he says it was so funny because it's just the type of guy that Mourinho is. He said he didn't say he played really well and he was brilliant. He eventually did say that, but the first thing he said was that, and I picked up on this immediately. The first thing he said was he only made one mistake.
Yeah. And
that really, that to a lot of people, they wouldn't think anything of it. But when I thought, I was just like, you know what? That's Mourinho down to a T. Because he didn't say he had a great game. He just said, he only made one mistake. So he's picked out, it's like a backhanded compliment. He's picked out the thing that he did wrong, but it's also complimented him. So I think that was very Mourinho of him, obviously. But no, Luke Shaw for me is my player to upset the apple cart and do his critics wrong.
I like that phrase.
Yeah, I've used it twice I think tonight, so just trying to get my cliches in there.
Do we have any more questions? Have you got anything you'd like to put forward? And we've spoke about, obviously it's Premier League preview. We've kind of covered a lot.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been really good. That.
Is there anything else you'd like to touch up on, or?
I'm going to go back on myself here a little bit. When I said Newcastle to get relegated, I'm going to say Newcastle slash Southampton, because I get your points as well, and I've made my points on Mark Hughes as well. So One or two of those, Newcastle or Southampton. But that's the only thing I'd like to say about that.
Did you want to speak? I know, because obviously we touched on Fulham a little bit.
Yeah.
We said we'd come back to them.
Yeah, we didn't.
Touch on Fulham a bit more? Or?
I think now, teams that are getting promoted they seem to be getting more money available to them than teams that have just managed to stay up.
Obviously, like mentioned, Fulham spending about
Fulham,
100 million.
Wolves, Cardiff. I don't think they've spent a lot at all, to be honest. So I don't know whether that's just the fact that crazy Vincent Tan is not giving them any money, or even crazier Neil Warnock is not getting the right players that he wants. But Wolves and Fulham.
He was fuming, by the way. We loaned out Marco Grujic to that season.
Yeah. He had a good season as well, though, didn't he?
Neil Warnock was really confident in him coming back to Cardiff on loan this season.
Right.
And Grujic basically said no, because he wants to go. I can't remember where it was. Some a foreign club, basically.
Right. Okay.
And Warnock completely lost his shit.
Really?
Because he was just saying in interviews he's pretty much he's coming back. I'm very confident he's coming back. He's kind of going to be like
that's the worst.
Big guy for us in midfield, and he snubbed them and said he wants to go somewhere else.
You can just imagine that though, because when a manager with an ego like Warnock's and an attitude like Warnock's says that something's happening, and then someone basically shits on his parade, he's not going to take that lightly, and he's going to react exactly how you'd expect. So, but just quickly touching on Fulham, they will have a good season if their team cohesion, if they if they get their team to play as a team, because. And they lost today 2-0 to Crystal Palace, which could actually factor in to be a great result for Crystal Palace. 10 games in, 20 games in. Yeah. But Fulham, they've got Andre Schürrle. How have they got him in? That's crazy. Mitrovic, who was great for them last year.
He scored 12 in 18?
Last season. Yeah, for them. So they've got a good team. They play good football. They've got a good manager, who we can't pronounce his name properly, or whatever his name is. So I think that they'll do alright. I don't think they'll be in a relegation dogfight if they can get their team cohesion up here. Mm-hmm. Because you see a lot of those teams who, they obviously bought late, they got a few people in towards the end of the transfer window. When that happens, you have to rely on your team to accept them quickly and bond quickly, and if that doesn't happen, then you're probably going to get you're going to have a slow start and then eventually build up if they do. So I think as long as the team get together and really create a bond, I think they'll do alright. I think they'll do well. I think Cardiff are dead in the waters, like I said before, and Wolves have made my tip of the year. By the way, I just want to say, I haven't put a bet on that because I'm confident that it could happen, but I'm also not confident at the same time. It's just an outlandish.
I've kind of done the opposite thing in.
Yeah.
I think City will win the league. I've got 20 quid on Liverpool to win it.
And I'm the same. Just to briefly touch, I know it's not Premier League, but briefly touch on my team, Doncaster Rovers. I came here from the game today, good 3-0 win. Second time in 2 games that we've scored 3 goals in the second half, which is great. I've put bets on them to get promoted via the playoffs and reach the playoffs, because I just genuinely think that's going to happen. Even though we've got teams like Sunderland there, Barnsley, who are doing great as well, because they kept hold of all their top players. I know your championship is, EFL's not.
It's very sort of vague knowledge.
Yeah, and you've got to be really sort of into it to know it, because it's very fast and ever changing. But as a Doncaster fan, I think that briefly want to touch on them. I think we'll get promoted. I think we'll get promoted via the playoffs, and I'm just really looking to taking you along to Wembley, like we agreed when we were at Anfield this May. Gone. You remember?
Yeah, this May.
Yeah, we were talking about it. So You can see the video. It'll be probably May time again. Playoffs. We'll be there with Doncaster.
And I hope.
And it'll be a great video.
I hope Herbie Kane
on loan from Liverpool, one of the best signings we've made because, well, we've made 2 loan signings. We've got Herbie Kane from Liverpool and we've got Malik Wilks from Leeds, and both of those players have made our team so much better because Malik Wilks, I'll just go over him briefly, he's one of those players that never gives up, and he's a forward, and you can tell he's got an attitude. Like today, it was the best thing ever. I think it was when we were 2-0 up, he was subbed off, and he was sort of doing the Conor McGregor walk as he was walking off, and he was a big grin on his face, like walking off. You could tell all the Wycombe players and management were getting so riled up and pissed off of him, and he was just like sort of lapping it up. So he's a bit like a Balotelli. He's got a very big character, and you just hope that he can back you up. But he's got 2 in 2, so fair play to him. So he's good. Herbie Kane made his first. It was his first start anyway. So he made his full debut today. Played 90 minutes. A great prospect. So confident on the ball. He looked more confident than most of our players on the ball. He shifted the ball fast. He was good off the ball as well. Sorry, he was good at marking, good at tackling. He put in a good few challenges. So there's one for you there that he's probably going to be, probably not going to play for Liverpool. Let's be honest, but he's going to get you some money.
I think he's one of those players like this. This is how I put it. He's probably not going to reach the level to be in our starting team.
Yeah. Which maybe Ben Woodburn and Ryan Brewster will.
Yeah, and Curtis Jones.
I don't know a lot about Curtis Jones, but those two certainly, yeah. But no, Herbie Kane, I've watched him once. I've watched him for 90 minutes, and I just want to say that I thought he was amazing. And he's going to be a fan favourite for us.
I've seen lots of, because he was one of the academy players that was very highly praised by Gerrard.
Yeah.
Gerrard actually. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We had a battery failure in the camera.
Yep, we are sorry for that.
We also appear to be missing, for some reason, my audio has been recording 10 minutes longer than Josh's.
I don't know.
So
I have no answers.
Maybe
I prefer not to speak about this, but
there may be some issues when coming to editing. We may have to potentially listen to Josh's 10 minutes of Josh through little glimpses of my microphone.
That might be an issue. But what were we talking about when the camera went off?
I was talking about Herbie
Kane
and Gerrard, highly praising him. Wanted him on loan at Celtic. I said Celtic, didn't I?
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I thought you did. I was thinking, did he say Celtic or not? Yeah, Rangers. Yeah. No, he's a great player. I can't believe we've got him for League One. I think that he maybe could have gone to a Championship team, possibly. But he seems to be good. I said in a tweet after the game, he'll be a fan favourite if he keeps putting in those kind of performances, and I still think that right now. 6 points from the first 2 games. As a fan of Doncaster, I don't want to keep going on about it because this is not about Doncaster, but I think we'll get promoted. I hope we get promoted, obviously, but I think we will as well. And it's only been 2 games, so I'm probably going to play this back while I'm crying that we've finished 12th.
I can't, I'm still waiting for us to play our opening game. Tomorrow.
Do you think that's actually a good thing that you've got your City and Arsenal and Liverpool they've got longer to? I know it's only a day, but they could sit back and watch today's games and be like, we've got a game tomorrow, but it's a bit less to worry about.
I don't know, because it's almost kind of like, I know it's the first game, so ultimately, let's say we got thrashed by West Ham tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's say West Ham tomorrow are going to beat us 5-0.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. But at the same time, you want to win your first game. You want to get off to a good start. Because
there's a difference between being in that top half of the table and bottom on 0 after a game's been played.
Yeah.
That's the same for me. When I looked at it, and we're second in the league now, and I'm like, just stay that way for the next 42 games or whatever.
I even don't like looking at it now and seeing just even though we've not played yet,
Yeah,
the fact that we're so low down the
because
table
you've not played,
I don't like seeing
yeah,
it.
it's
And
a horrible
sounds
thing.
So,
It's a horrible thing.
So like,
If you're going to look at the table now and you're just going to torture yourself. It's just like I tortured myself. I was like, yeah, we're second. Let's keep it that way.
Absolutely no. Like even after I think it was after 6-7 games in.
Yeah.
Man United tweeted last season 6-7 games in, top of the league, winky face, sort of lapping it.
Did they really?
Yeah. It's because it was when they went through that series of beating everyone 4-0.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and they tweeted
too soon.
Saying top of the league with a winky face, and then obviously when City had absolutely whitewashed
that's a
it,
little bit poor from their social media team.
The tweet came back to haunt them.
Yeah.
The starting games don't. It's kind of.
It's just one game, isn't it? It's just one game, but
obviously you want to start off well. So I think it could add the pressure to us. The fact that we've seen Tottenham win, we've seen United win, we've seen Chelsea win.
Yeah.
We now have to go and win because obviously ultimately.
So the pressure's on you then.
Yeah, I think so because ultimately I guess at least we know either City or Arsenal will be dropping points, if not both.
Yeah.
So there's always that.
So there's Chelsea and United who have got 3 points on you.
And Tottenham.
And Tottenham, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
But at the same time, we could think, okay, yeah, one of those two teams are going to drop points, but we don't want to be down there with them.
Yeah, fair enough.
We want to be up with. Again, it's only one game, but we you want to get off that flying start. So I feel like it could be a little bit of pressure. The fact that we've seen every other big team win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Albeit not very comfortably. Chelsea, okay, yes. The others, not very comfortably.
Yeah, I agree.
But wins nonetheless. 3 points on the board.
Yeah, that's the main thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you win, just win. So.
And the game tomorrow, we'll finish it on this.
Okay.
The game tomorrow. Probably game today because it'll be uploaded. Actually no.
If you can get this out for tomorrow,
yeah,
I'll be very, very proud of you.
This will be out either on Sunday, so the kick-off day of Liverpool-West Ham, or if not, the Monday, so the day after, so the result will have obviously already come in. But
so you'll know the result.
Yeah.
Or you won't.
We
don't.
No, you will know the result anyway, because if it does come out tomorrow, it will be after the game, regardless.
Yeah.
Because the game's at 1:30, so there's no chance I'm getting out before then.
No chance. I'll tell you that now. There's no chance. But
so
thanks. Shout out to Arlo for the pizza.
We'll finish on the game. Look, I think Liverpool will win.
Okay.
I'm gonna say I don't think it'll be. I don't think we'll whitewash them. I think it'll be a sort of nitty-gritty game at times. I think they'll defend in numbers. Wilshere's already done an interview with Sky and Gary Neville, saying obviously they know how Liverpool play. They know they're going to be pressing on the front foot, and Wilshere's already said, they're going to have to defend as a unit. Sort of hinting at they're going to be defending deep. They're going to be trying to limit our space. So I think it'll be very nitty gritty. I don't think we'll dominate them by any stretch of the imagination. I think it'll be a tough game actually.
Yeah.
I think we could walk away with a draw. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think a draw.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think, and I don't want to jinx it. I think losing isn't gonna. I don't think we're gonna.
I don't think you'll lose.
I think a draw is very possible just because it's so early on in the season, and don't forget West Ham are a very strengthened, very good side.
And Jack Wilshere said this is the best time to play it, and I think that is true because it's just fresh and you don't know what's going to happen. So, I think West Ham might get a draw, but I'm sort of leaning. So I'm going to say I'm 60% Liverpool win, 40% draw.
Yeah. My prediction at the minute, if I had to give one, would be 3-1 Liverpool.
Well, that's not close.
No, I mean, I think it'll be a close game in terms of how it's played out. So for example, I think we'll I think by half time the game will be 1-0 Liverpool. I think West Ham will then equalise.
Okay, I see what you mean.
West Ham will equalise early/mid second half.
Yeah.
Will then be putting on the pressure for the remaining of the second half. It kind of looks like it's going to be a 1-1 draw, and then we'll nick one sort of late 70s, early 80s,
Yeah.
and then another in the final stage of the game when West Ham try and pull one back.
Okay, I get you. I get that.
I think, well, obviously it'll be the 2-goal deficit, but the game itself will be incredibly close.
Yep, I agree. I think City will beat Arsenal, but I think it'll be 2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
I think Arsenal will score. I'll say 2-1 City.
Just quickly, because we haven't really spoke about it, FA Cup and Carabao Cup.
What, winners?
Winners.
I'll say... It's difficult. Do you know what? I'm going to say Carabao Cup, Arsenal.
Okay.
FA Cup, I'm going to say Liverpool. I think that'll be the trophy we win. I think we'll get something this season.
How unprofessional. I silenced all my stuff.
No, it's my laptop though.
Yeah, well, you should have silenced it. Terrible. Anyway, is there anything else you want to cover? As the plane goes over at this very opportune time.
I mean, they're my two winners. Do you want to finish on yours?
I'm going to go City and...
For which one?
Carabao Cup.
Okay.
Sorry, I just said that because that's the first one, isn't it? So yeah, Carabao Cup, City. And I think that... Oh, God, the FA Cup, it literally is just a lottery sometimes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, and this is going to be another one of my bold claims, I'm going to say that Spurs win it. And I think that's a bold claim because of the squad depth.
Yeah.
So I think Spurs.
Okay.
For the FA Cup. And then they won't stop going on about it, all the fans.
For like the next 10 years.
Yeah. But yeah, so anything else we could talk about?
I think, well, we've just hit 100 minutes. 100 minutes.
90 for me, so hopefully that's not bad, but yeah, 90 for me, so...
Yeah. So, 100 minutes on the clock. I think we'll finish up there.
Yep.
It's been a good podcast.
Great. I
would
happy
actually
to
like to do more podcasts in the future.
When we did our we did a first one on my channel, it was really good to do. It's a bit of a ball ache to edit, but it's good to see when they come out. It's good to see the progress of them.
It was a different one though, that as well, because obviously conspiracy theories.
It was like there were so many we didn't talk about, and so many we could have talked about. But it's a good idea, and I like the podcast because it's a good, nice, chill chat. And there's a moth that's just entered the room and is flying around our lights. Everything could be going wrong.
Those lights get really hot as well.
So hot. No, I just like to say, if this is okay, that obviously if you've seen that I've made videos on my channel that I've done with Adam, sort of hit a wall about 3 months ago. For good reason, though. It's for good reason. Like, I finished university, I had to put all my work and dedication into that. So I'll be doing videos shortly. I just need to get on top of it because now I'm working full time. That's the life, isn't it? The life that we choose to live. So I just want to say that hopefully I'll be getting my channel back up and running in the near future. So if you would like to check out, if you'll kindly put it in the description, check out my channel and let's get it going again, sort of thing. But thanks for having me. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a nice little chat.
No, and finally, just for a little comment section thing. YouTube comments are rare these days. You can get 1,000 views and 0 comments, but just if we can get a little comment thing going off, if people want to leave their Premier League predictions, things that we've been talking about, top goal scorers, etc.
If you want to tell me how wrong I am about Wolves getting 6, bring it on.
You know, go ahead, leave your comments, leave your feedback in obviously the comment section. And also, just one for Liverpool fans, if I was to do Liverpool podcasts in the future, they'd only be short ones, like 20-30 minutes long. If you would like to see that, just give the video a like, or just say in the comments down below, as they are things that I'm obviously interested in doing, and I can talk more in depth about Liverpool than I can obviously every other Premier League team.
Same with me. With if you want to see us do Doncaster podcast, dislike the video.
Oh yeah, come on, we're not encouraging that.
I'm joking. Don't dislike it.
But no, Josh, obviously, like I said, it'll be in the description.
Yeah. It always is.
He's in the works of actually coming out with his own, I guess, kind of like
a show,
pre-recorded, live show.
It's a pre-recorded show to look live. Yeah. It's very much in the early stages of development, but it's something that I've got a passion to do, and hopefully we can get it filmed soonish, because it's football related, it's Doncaster related. So if you're a fan of Doncaster watching this podcast, first of all, what are you doing watching this podcast? Because this is Premier League. Like, seriously, stay with League One. Follow, subscribe to my channel. It'll be down in the description because Adam's a G. And yeah, let's hopefully get this TV show rolling that I've got in the mix.
Okay.
That's my plug of the day.
and yeah, I hope you enjoyed, as always. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
See you later.
Okay.
Good.
Finish recording.
I enjoyed that.